Welcome to another Triathlon podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is another Triathlon podcast. Enjoy the ride.
Welcome back to another Triathlon podcast, your one-stop shop for all things triathlon. As usual, I'm here with my regular hosts, Josh, and Betty will be joining us in just a minute. We're on episode 8 already, and it is so good to have you back with us. We have a packed episode for you today, and I know I keep saying that, but there's so much gossip, good stuff, Tour de France fun. We'll be catching up with our own training progress, answering your questions, giving you the lowdown on the weekend's races, and as always, there'll be our infamous WTF moment of the week and our social media post of the week as well. And, well, we're kind of in the swing of the Tour de France, and there have been some epic movements in the GC, and we cannot help but geek out a little bit on some of the incredible performances and the strategic moves that have been playing out. We're definitely a triathlon podcast, but who can resist the spectacle of the Tour? So we're going to have some fun chatting about that, geeking out with it all. So to kick things off, let's get started with our check-in for our own training and racing. Let's get started. Josh, how are things going these days?
They're going great. They're going great. I mean, obviously, my update is not as cool as yours and Fetty's with your racing and your wins and your podiums and all of that. But I had a really good week training. I actually upped my FTP by 7 watts. So I was happy to do that. 20 minutes. I think I got to 4 watts per kilogram. So
congratulations. That's getting legit in there.
That. Yeah. And then I did a 5K, but it wasn't the day I was expecting. I tried to do it right after doing my FTP. So had a pretty good 5K, but I'm going to do I entered in a 5K road race next week. So I'm going to go after it then. And then I did my swim test and upped my times there too. So I did a 400, 200 swim test and crushed that. And been putting in the miles, went over 17 miles for the first time this weekend too. So things are going well, staying healthy. That's the big part. And I'm bouncing back. I've had some good recovery scores.
That is good. I'll admit, I was a little bit surprised to hear you're going to do the threshold run test right after the FTP test, because that is brutal. Like, the legs will be feeling
good. I felt good. It's, I mean, you know, like we taper, we run fresh and all that, but I think we're always training with a little bit of tiredness. So I think having those accurate zones is another part of it. So I think that was kind of the goal there. But now I'm going to have a little bit of a taper into a 5K road race and see what I can go get.
I think you're going to be surprised by the pace with a little bit of rest and less that fatigue in the legs. It is crazy the difference in feeling when you're racing on fresh legs instead of after an FTP test, especially because those are always tough. But congratulations
on the adrenaline alone of a race over a treadmill run or laps around a track.
Absolutely. And people to chase, like, that always makes it a little bit easier. When you got a carrot dangling out in front of you, it's like, okay, just start trying to pick them off and see how far you can get up.
People chasing me. We'll see.
True. Yeah. Either way, there's motivation on all fronts. It definitely makes it a lot easier to suffer, especially when others are suffering with you. Somehow that just makes it a little bit better.
Absolutely. And it's all fun. So yeah, it'll make for a good weekend next weekend. And I'm excited about that. But let's hear about you chasing down some people, because it sounds like you chased a few down. All of them, actually.
I had some fun this weekend. It was good. I head up to do that duathlon. It was the provincial duathlon championships, and I really wanted to get a world championship slot in Australia because I've never been to Australia, and racing's a good excuse to travel to new places. So it was kind of a last minute whim to jump into this and see what I could do there. But head over to Victoria, BC. I know a number of athletes will have gone up there for the Ironman 70.3 in Victoria. Beautiful place. I hadn't been there since 2019. I did the 70.3 there. It's a bit early season for me most times, but I just forget how pretty it is. And it's such a fun course because they do the run around a lake and it's all trails and gravel and stuff. So it totally mixes it up from what you're used to. And then the bike is on the road. So it's kind of a trail run and road bike, which makes it a little bit more fun in there. But yeah, went out, had a good day, actually tapered down a bit for this. So I had some fresh legs. Like I said, those always feel really good. And the drop, I showed up on the Friday evening and raced on Sunday morning. And that timing was just perfect for the elevation drop for me. So I'm coming down from like 3,700 feet to 0. And that just, it felt like flying. I forgot how much difference it actually makes when you come down from elevation and time that right.
It's almost like you're cheating, right?
Right? It just, I did a duathlon just 3 or 4 weeks before that. And the drastic difference in my paces and power, even though I was doing a trail run instead of a road run, were significant. So it was kind of fun to see that and just remember that, okay, that makes a fair bit of a difference in there. But yeah, I love duathlon.
Your gear too, though. Instead of trying things out. Well, you did have the new shoes, but
bought a new pair of shoes at the race expo. And first time in the new bike shoes too.
And the new bike shoes, yeah.
Continuing the streak of brand new equipment during races, but those are the times to test it out before Kona.
Maybe by World Championships you'll be ready to use the same thing for the second time.
Yeah, it'd be good. I'll work on that. No, it's really good. Luckily, everything felt really good in there. And I like duathlon because unlike in triathlons, I'm usually chasing people down after the swim. Duathlon, it's just kind of hang on in that first run and then just do everything I can on the bike and jump to the next run. So at least I know where I am in the race, which makes it a little bit easier. Was off the front and held everyone off and got that world champ spot in the overall female win. So it was a good day out.
That's awesome. And then, so I'm not sure if everyone has seen one of your more recent posts or stories, but you returned home. It's July, correct? Right? Well, I'm just making sure we're still. You returned home, and I think I saw something that I didn't expect to see when you landed.
Yeah, so I get back home to Calgary, and it's Canada, it's Alberta, and I'm going out to the the parking lot there. And I see snow on the ground. I'm like, you have to be kidding me. But it got better from there. After I posted that picture on my story, I was still walking around because I couldn't remember exactly where my car was parked. But it started hailing on me while I'm trying to find my car after the trip back, after a race. You're kind of like sore and achy and tired. I'm just like, you have to be kidding me. So beautiful summers here in Canada, definitely come visit.
Yeah. Sounds like you've got some real estate shopping to do.
You know what? Sometimes I question why I live here. Definitely. But thankfully it's been pretty since then. And it's looking like things are going to get hot for Ironman Calgary 70.3 in just over a week here. So actually, I just got a new sauna to do some heat adaptation training. Mine broke a while ago. And with Kona and, as we can see, sometimes I'm training in snow in July. So some of those hotter races, I find the sauna training really makes a drastic difference in just the ability to handle heat. And I've found it's worked really well. So I'm excited about a new sauna and have to start suffering in there too.
Jealous. I'm lucky. I do get some sauna work when I'm at my pool when I'm swimming. So I definitely am pretty good about getting in there for 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on the day. But that makes a huge difference. But it's humid here right now. So I'm getting all the heat training I need every time I get outside. It's unbelievable. Even if I update my paces based off of the weather or what the app does for me, it's pretty crazy how much your pace can change based off of the humidity and the conditions and things. So it was nice to get outside for a really long run and then today doing some interval work. And then, I'm also now part of Team Mauna Endurance as well. So
yeah, we got a new announcement here. So
fully being a member of the crew and involved here and getting to meet everyone through our little chat group and the Facebook group and all that. So excited for the future there too.
Well, we're happy to have you on board. Yeah, we extended an invitation for Josh to join our race team on Mauna Endurance because he has been such a fantastic co-host on the podcast, putting in a lot of work and effort here. And we just want to have the good vibes and energy on the Mauna Endurance team. So you fit in perfectly there. And you know what, if you haven't already, this, like we always mention, is brought to you by Mauna Endurance. It is just such a fun team of athletes of all ability levels all over the world. So you don't have to be a top tier pro fast age grouper to join in there. We welcome everyone. And they've just got a wicked team of coaches, but the sponsor discounts. Have you started looking around at some of the deals that we get there?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. So it's kind of like, where do I start first off, right?
Oh, exactly. All the goodies. Yeah, it's fun. We've got a really fun WhatsApp group. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? Everyone's just supportive. There's a bit of trash talk, a bit of fun. We all support each other, and we definitely target a few races, which it makes it so much more of an experience when you show up and you've got 20 team members out there racing on course with you. Like I said, it's easier to suffer if there's other people, suffering around you. And just seeing that race kit fly by, you're like, oh, okay, that's a familiar face out there, right? It's
so
go check
out. It's kind of surreal. I mean, at my first 70.3 was Oceanside this year, and it was a big Mauna presence there, and the expo, and then a whole bunch. And one of my teammates for Athletic Brewing was a teammate of Mauna, so I kind of knew about you guys and have been following and following the group. So it felt natural to say, yes, I'll join. So I'm being part of the podcast and everything. It's I've gotten to know a few of the teammates even before this. So it's been really cool. And I am ecstatic about being a part of it now.
Well, we're happy to have you on board. And yeah, anyone who's listening, I'll put the link in the show notes there. Check out maunaendurance.com. You can join the race team at any point in there. It's called a race team, but you don't have to, like I said, be a podium placer in races. You just get access to a really fun group. We do some very cool training camps. We did one in Mexico earlier in this year, and we had like 30 athletes out there at an all-inclusive resort. And it was one of the coolest experiences I've had with training. The key to a good training camp, the all-inclusive with constant access to food. That's what makes it racing. It was so much fun.
The fuel,
right?
The food.
Just upping the calorie intake so you can get enough fuel to go hard out there. But yeah, it's a really fun group in there. So I'd suggest anyone checks it out. Or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Josh or Fede, because now we're all Mauna Endurance athletes here too.
Yeah, there's no reason to do it alone. Join a group, join a community, and Mauna is one of those options out there for you.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Well, let's get rolling in here. Fede will be able to join us soon. But let's get started with our social media post of the week. Let's jump in that way. Do you have something good for us, Josh? What have you noticed on social media?
So I don't know how I missed this because we're towards the end of this adventure, but I don't know if you guys have heard of Sean Conway, but you probably know the Iron Cowboy and his record setting, I think 101 straight days of a full Ironman distance. So 140.6 times 101 days straight. Was the record. So Sean Conway over in the UK just finished day 101 today. And tomorrow, Thursday, July 20th, he's going to set the record for 102 straight days of 140.6 swim, bike, run every day. And he's doing it all for a great cause, raising money for the True Venture Foundation, which helps youth sports, give kids an opportunity to try sports and triathlon being one of the big pieces of it. And then also keeping them in sports because they've noticed a lot of the drop in when youth get a little older, they start to drop off. Yeah. And especially female athletes losing millions of kids who are in sport. And this is a way to keep them in it. So really cool, a crazy adventure that he's on, but at the same time, he's putting it into a good cause too. So I would definitely, we'll put it in the show notes and check him out. And if you get a chance, you definitely want to see some of this. He goes live and it's really cool. And we're hoping to get him on the podcast sometime too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't believe I missed this entirely. Like I had no idea this was going on. So it's very cool to hear it. Now I have to ask, there was a bit of controversy with Iron Cowboy doing his 100 Ironmans in there, with a couple of situations of elliptical use instead of the run when some issues came up and stuff. Has this guy done it 100% legit, running every day, getting it done, putting in the miles?
So I don't know if I put in the miles to do that research and go through all 101 days. But I went back a few. He's out there. So he's doing pool swims and he's going out and riding and running from everything that I've seen recently. So go back a few months ago, it probably had some cold weather in the UK. So would have to double check that. But he's definitely getting in the pool and doing the laps, which, I mean, imagine 2.4 miles in a pool every day.
That sounds brutal. It just,
Yeah.
and that marathon day after day after day, like it is such an incredible feat of human performance to be able to do that and recover. We're talking about the Tour de France here, 101 Ironmans, like, oh, that is just next level. That run beats you up. Just, I couldn't imagine doing 100 marathons, never mind after, the swim and then the bike and then go do for a little marathon jog to cool down.
And 100 marathons from everyone I've seen, like 5.5 hours. I mean, he's not going that slow. And 101 days into this, and he's had people join him. It's almost like Forrest Gump. There's people out there running with him, and people running their first marathons and things like that, joining him.
Cool.
And so it's been really cool to see some of that. And now for people to join him on the last day, it was all like a lottery based off of who donated. And so there was kind of like a giveaway, and those winners were announced. So they get to do the swim with him tomorrow, and whoever gets to do the bike and the run and things like that. So it's kind of a special thing to be a part of that day.
That is very cool. I love to hear it and love that it's for a good cause in there and just bringing awareness to sport. It's cool to see that people are jumping in to do those marathons and ride with him and challenge themselves while he is out doing an incredibly epic endurance feat.
Yeah. Absolutely. Nothing I will ever think about doing, for sure.
One of these days I'm going to do an Ultraman. I have to, but that's just like 2 Ironmans over 3 days. So nothing close to that, but it is very cool to see him getting out there. Well, let's move on to our what the F moment of the week. And I don't know if you saw this, but my what the F moment of the week is Kristian Blummenfelt's racing schedule. If this all comes together, this man is absolutely insane and awesome and crazy all at the same time. So what his proposed schedule coming up is July 29th, the Sunderland World Triathlon Championship Series. On August 4th, the PTO Tour US Open in Milwaukee, USA. August 18th, just over a week later, the Paris Olympic Test Event in, obviously, Paris. And then 2 days later, the PTO Tour in Asia in Singapore. 7 days later, the Ironman 70.3 World Championships in Finland. And then 3 days later, the Super League Championship Series in Toulouse, France. And then, he takes a long break to recover with 20 days later, the Pontevedra World Triathlon Series Grand Final. And then,
that taper.
Right? 7 days later, Super League Championship Series in Malibu.
So, I mean, we've talked a lot about like how much in between events and things like that. And sometimes it's better to go back to back, but this is a whole different level. I mean,
yeah. That is, let's see, over 2 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 races. And only one of them won't have like the best in the world in a variety of distances. And he goes everything from super sprint distances to 70.3 world championships. Like this is unreal.
I mean, like these super sprints are like just a training day.
Right. Although I don't know if he quite understands the Super League series. At Malibu last time, he was sprinting off the front for no reason. But I think he has no throttle. It's just full gas all the time, and it makes it so much fun to watch. And it is so entertaining. But this guy, like, it is, I appreciate the confidence and exuberance to just go, you know what, I'm just going to go do it all, see what my body can do. And he's destroying people along the way. Like, I know his WTCS results haven't been what we saw at the last Olympics, but he's getting better and better. Everyone dialing in that short course speed. Like, he could win more than half of these, and I would not be surprised in the least bit.
I think it'll be interesting to see how that carries over to the PTO. And I mean, that being such a huge race, and seeing how he reacts to doing a middle distance or a little bit longer than he's been doing, right? So, I mean, that race, I can't wait for us to talk about that. I mean, that lineup for the US PTO and that whole Milwaukee's going to be buzzing, that's for sure.
And that he's doing a PTO event 2 days after the Paris Olympics test event is like, What can't this guy do?
No.
Although I wonder if they'll have Gustav Eden there doing his or he like has this telepathic power where anyone who starts to challenge him in a PTO event just cramps up. We saw that at where it was just like everyone was just going down. It was like muscle cramp, stomach cramp. You're like, what is happening here? And Gustav is just running along.
Calf muscle.
Oh, it's going to be so fun to watch. We are definitely going to have a number of conversations about this. And it's funny, there's a little bit of online back and forth. I haven't dove too deep into it between Mark Allen and Tim Don, debating about Kristian Blummenfelt and his training and if things have really moved on. And Tim Don kind of didn't quite, but kind of called him an old guy who things have moved, or the sport's moved on since his time. But it's pretty entertaining if you go to some of the conversations back and forth. Mark Allen has written an open letter to Tim Don on his thoughts and training in there. So, you know what? We love it all. There are definitely different racing and training philosophies and coaching philosophies, and the Norwegians are just blowing everything we thought we knew out of the water in a lot of ways. So it'll be fun to see how they go here.
And it's hard not to listen to Mark Allen, too. I mean, he's kind of one of those goats, right? I mean, but at the same time, it's a different era. But he's still involved and he still knows what's going on. So we'll see who's right, I guess. Matter of a few months and 8 races.
Right? I mean, I guess he's done a race or two, so he might have some experience there. Whole different world here. So we will see what happens. We will be watching closely, and I can't wait to see it all. Like, I cannot wait. It's going to be so good to witness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that PT Open start list. It is looking pretty crazy and pretty epic. Like, things are going to go down in Milwaukee that are going to be absolutely epic to watch. So to give you an idea here, just like the top few names in here, I think you have to go like 15 deep before there's not a potential winner. We got on the men's side, Kristian Blummenfelt, Magnus Dietlev, Sam Long, Ben Knut, Daniel Beckegaard, Aaron Royal, Frederick Prunk, Clement Mignon, Lionel Sanders, Lauren Anger, Jason West, Kristen Hogenhog, Alistair Brownlee, Bradley White. Like, it just keeps going on and on and on.
Don't forget about our buddy Mark Dubrick either. I mean,
Mark Dubrick will be in there.
The wild cards. And Jan.
Okay. Yeah. I saw that. So is Jan in on the wild card there? I think I saw that.
Yeah. Jan Frodeno on the wild card too.
Man, like, it just, it's going to be so good. The PTO's kind of been starts and stutters this year. They aren't going to be doing a 4th event because apparently things didn't work out in the course and stuff, which I know people are giving them a lot of flack for, but working in the events business out now, I can definitely understand where things kind of come up and fall apart at points where you think it will be. But it's good to see at least this race is going to be absolutely epic. I can't imagine Singapore is going to be anything close to it just because of the timing with the Paris Test event and 70.3 World Championships. So it's cool to see that they're going to have this race where it's going to be absolutely loaded. Like, we'll do picks closer to the day, but it's going to be hard. You can throw a dart at any of the top 10 and not be surprised if they destroyed everyone else.
I couldn't believe when they kept making the announcements with the wild cards too. I mean, the list that you just read off, and then the wild cards kept coming, and like who's who. And it's a big weekend in Milwaukee too, because it's a whole big USA Triathlon Foundation age group stuff. And I mean, what a party that's going to be.
Well, and I think that's the best way for them to do it is to really attach these to those age group events too. So at least you're going to have a crowd, people excited, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Welcome along. We have Fede joined us today. How are you doing
today? Hey, Jenna. Hey, Josh. Good, guys. How are you?
Very good.
Doing good, thanks. Glad to have you along here. How's your day going?
Good. A bit hectic, actually. There's a lot of traffic right now in the city. But I guess that's part of it when you live in a city with 22 million people.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that. We have like 1 million here, and that seems like a big city. 22 million blows my mind.
Yeah, it's wild. Some days are perfect, and some other days you're like 2 hours, 10 kilometers span. Yeah.
Brutal. Well, we've just been chatting through a bit of the WTF moment of the week and our social media post of the week, but let's take a step back because you had a good race this weekend. How did things go with your race?
Good. Yeah, I raced in 70.3 Ecuador, Manta, which is a very nice place. People are super friendly. And my race went, okay, I would say. It was not the best performance for me, but it was not also the worst. I finished fourth. Um, there was a bit of a current on the swim, so we all swam slow. My bike was really good. I'm very happy with my bike. I think I had the second or third fastest bike split, which I was over the moon with it, with the setup and everything. And like you said, I think I pushed 12 watts less than what I did previously in my previous setup, and I was so fast. So yeah, it was amazing.
Absolutely, that's wicked to hear. Yeah,
bikes, right?
That Hanzo goes.
It goes and it catches people's eyes. Everybody was telling me how good looking of a bike it was. So yeah, very happy with that. And the run was hot and humid, so it was just survival mode for everybody. But good, overall good with my performance, and happy to be racing well. And like I talked to my coach, and he said, it's always good that your good performances and your bad performances, there's not too much of a big of a gap, so that you don't completely blow up when you have a bad day. So that's a good takeaway for this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And still to not have your top performance still coming top, like fourth place, is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, I was happy. So, I'm just cherry picking here. We all do that as triathletes and like A-type people. But yeah, happy with it.
I was happy getting all the updates. I mean, I was up in New Hampshire picking my daughter up at camp, and my Ironman updates kept coming every time Fede hit a checkpoint.
Yeah, I was thinking about you guys, like every time I cross a checkpoint. They must be getting an update now.
Yeah.
That's kind of the fun part. Yeah, I was checking in less often there, but afterwards took a
look. Fair enough.
They don't like it when you take your phone on the race course, so I had to wait a little bit.
Yeah, true. How did your race go? I heard it went pretty well.
Yeah, came away with the overall female win. So I was stoked with that and going to the World Championships in Australia. So as I was saying before, just a good excuse to travel somewhere new and see if I can get another world title. So fingers crossed, but I got a year to train for it. It's not till August next year. So lots of time to get ready, try to run a lot faster. Duathlon, I'm learning, is a lot about the run. I'm a stronger biker than runners. So there's going to be lots of speed work in my future.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure, and I'm sure you're gonna love the high intensity training for the second run on that duathlon.
My favorite.
Sounds like a goal for the podcast too. I mean, we got a year to get the podcast there to do a live show too, right?
There we go. Bring some sponsors on board. We'll do a live recording over in Australia.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, they are having the whole. I think it's the multi-sport festival and stuff. So there'll be a few different events, or it might be like duathlon and aquathon and all that sort of stuff. So
there could be some distance. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good. But let's jump back to some other racing. Fede, we were just talking about the PTO Open's start list, which is absolutely crazy. We've already chatted about the men's there, but let's take a look at the women's side. Again, it is absolutely stacked. Both these races are going to be incredible to watch go down. So at the top, we got Ashley Gentle, Paula Finley, Taylor Knibb, Chelsea Sodero, Holly Lawrence, Tamara Jewett, Kat Matthews, Sky Munch, India Lee, Jocelyn McCulley, and I could keep going on and on and on because there are so many names on this list. But like I said, we'll do some picks closer to race dates. I believe the first weekend in August, but it is going to be so much fun to watch this go down. And then they keep adding these wildcard slots that definitely make it even more interesting. So cannot wait to see that. And like we were talking about, it's fun that they do these PTO races alongside an age group race. I think, is it the USA Nationals or yeah, it's part of that. I remember getting a few emails about that.
Yeah, same.
They push hard for that. I'm sure most of our listeners have gotten those.
Yeah, and the USA Triathlon Foundation does their big gala around that whole weekend, and so
Okay, got you.
it's a big festival and fundraising opportunity for the foundation too.
That's wicked. And that'll make it fun though. Like I think it makes such a big difference with the pro racing when you actually have crowds out there cheering and participating. Like that just changes the vibe entirely and the performances too. So one thing that sucks, I think, like I was saying with the Singapore Open, that'll be after the test event, is I can't imagine there's going to be a ton of crowds, and I can't imagine there's going to be a bunch of the top names with that timing between the Paris test event and 70.3 Worlds. You're kind of knocking out most of the top athletes, except for Kristian Blummenfelt, who says he's just going to race absolutely everything and destroy everyone at all distances. So he's one of the few. Both or all three. Like not even both, all three.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that he can back it up. Like he's the one that he talks the talk and he walks the walk. So he might be able to pull it off.
I remember just a few years ago when he was starting to say these things like he's going to win the Olympics, he's going to win Ironman. We're like, okay, yeah, sure. Nobody did. And he proved us all wrong. So yeah, I am so excited to see what he does here because he definitely keeps it interesting.
100%. Yeah, it's going to be wild.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into some listener questions here before we go for the race results. So questions from the audience, and you guys can always send these in. There's an email in the show notes where you can send in your questions or go to see us on Instagram at Another Triathlon Podcast, and you can DM us some questions there. We've got myself and Fede as Mauna coaches, and Josh always has some great insights in here as well. So let's jump in with a question from Leigh. Any training tips for an athlete who is about to welcome a child into their life and wants to maintain a good level of fitness and keep the weight off? That is definitely that we're seeing something among the pros too, with Sam Long, Lionel Sanders, kind of their lives being shaken up by becoming new dads. Do you guys have any thoughts on how to balance that training with welcoming a new baby?
Well, I'm going to let Josh and you take the lead here because you guys are both parents, so you guys can go ahead.
So you're gonna, every baby's different. And you're going to have to adjust to their schedule first and foremost, and adjust your training around that. I guess that's what it starts with. Get the sleep when you can get the sleep when the baby sleeps as much as possible. And then maybe during some naps, get your training in. But if you're lucky, maybe you get a baby who starts to sleep 3 months in and get through the night. There's going to be some weird training hours. That's for sure. Yes. And it comes down to discipline. Finding the time to do it when you can, and making sure you stay hydrated and stay fueled and take care of yourself, as much as possible while you're raising a newborn. But the other good thing about a newborn is they do sleep a lot. So you actually do get a lot of time. My daughter slept a lot. So I was lucky. And I also traveled a lot too, because those first 2 years flying and all that, you get them used to that, get them used to traveling, and that helped as well for future references too. So travel, train, and hopefully they sleep, and just take care of yourself as much as possible. You gotta, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of the baby too. So that's my insight.
That is really key. I really like how you brought that up too. And that's something that I do work with a number of moms as well, where, it is important to take care of yourself. Everything else falls apart if you fall apart. So you need to make sure that you do that. When it comes to training with a new baby, I had the opposite experience. My baby did not sleep an hour, day or night for the first 9 months. And that absolutely destroyed my body in there. But the things that I learned, if you're a parent dealing with a new baby, and like the drastic life changes essentially that it comes with, when it's a case of the pros, typically that the training is their job. So they have some help or more support from the spouse to take over those roles or sleep in other rooms because they need to bring home a paycheck for the family and stuff too. Age groupers, we don't typically have that kind of support, and you're both kind of going through it in those early days. I found the biggest thing when you're trying to balance training with a newborn is communication with your partner if you have one. Just working it out so that you both get time to do things that, you do to take care of yourself, like training or getting some extra sleep or just time to yourself in there. I know it can be hard if you have a newborn baby and you want to go do that training and fit it in. If you don't communicate with your partner, then lines get crossed in there and someone is feeling more stressed out than they need to. So just setting up a schedule, setting up some time so that you both know this is the time to train or this is the time for them to do something, I find makes a big difference. The other thing is find things that you can do with the baby around too. So there's tons of at home like workouts for strength training that you can do that are pretty quick, high intensity. HIIT workouts are great for maintaining muscle mass or keeping the weight down in there. And those can be done pretty easily and quickly without much equipment. And then always finding a good trainer set up with maybe one of those baby mobiles or rockers in there. You can get some good bike rides in there if they're kind of bouncing along in their little bouncy thing for a bit. So, and I found a jogging stroller. If you want a strength workout, if you want muscular endurance, go run with a running stroller. Baby loves it. You get some strength work in there and it will definitely maximize on those endurance gains because, man, once you get baby in the stroller, you're pushing around like 50 pounds. Cool. It's definitely a good workout there. It was funny. When I got my jogging stroller, it had a handbrake. And I'm like, why would you need a handbrake on a jogging stroller? Start running downhill with that weight. You need a handbrake. So,
absolutely. Yeah, that's just. I want to add to what I was saying earlier too, is because you're going to have moments where you almost feel like a little bit of resentment to the fact that you're working out, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. It's natural to feel like you shouldn't be doing that, but just remind yourself that you are taking care of yourself to help better your life and your child's life. And Jenna's point to the communication, the more you communicate that with your partner, that resentment feeling might not be as heightened as it would be without that communication too. So communicate and know that you're going to have moments where you wish you or feel like you shouldn't be doing certain things, but as long as you've communicated it and planned it, it's okay.
Absolutely. And like I said, there'll be some odd training times where you just fit it in because baby's sleeping. You're like, hey, go. Awesome. Let's jump into our next one here from Jeff. Racing after the age of 60 gets significantly harder. What can we do to maintain health and racing capacity as we age? Fede, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, and funny that they asked this question this week because on the way to Manta, Ecuador, on the plane, I met an American guy, Tom, 77 years old, won his age group, qualified for Worlds, and he was just the life of the party. Everybody was just giving him a big standing ovation at awards, and I talked to him a while after the awards ceremony, and he was telling me that he surrounds himself with younger athletes, and he goes with a group ride every week. He has a swim squad, so I think that has to do a lot with staying sane and healthy at an older age. Not because 60 is old nowadays, but I think keeping things interesting and having a group and some people that can pull you towards your goals is very important, especially as we age. And of course, staying on top of your hydration and nutrition and going to the doctors regularly to know that your blood work is optimal for performance. Just staying on top of that. And some people are racing super fast at older age groups.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's really good advice, especially keeping in close contact with your doctor and making sure you get that blood work done so that you are maintaining optimal health so that you can support that training. One of the biggest things I've seen when it comes to working with older athletes, and I've worked with a few especially who have kind of more that corporate lifestyle, who are trying to fit in training recovery and a crazy work schedule. And there are a couple things to consider. One is strength training becomes infinitely more important as you age. That muscle mass and density you're going to start to lose fairly quickly if you don't stay on top of it. And also it'll just help strengthen all the tendons, all the ligaments, all the muscles so that you have a supporting foundation to do the training you want to do without breaking down and getting injured, which becomes more challenging as you get older too. So heavy strength training definitely makes a massive difference in not only your hormonal health, which becomes more important as you age, keeping your testosterone up, but also just building that foundation so that you're not broken down and injured. The other thing to look at is you really have to start to work on your recovery a lot more. You know, in your 20s, and we've seen it with some of the pros and stuff too, you can just go do stupid, crazy sessions for the fun of it, bounce back the next day after a couple beers the night before, like crazy how your body recovers. When you get into that over 50s and then especially over 60s, you really need to balance out that recovery a lot more. So if you are doing those higher intensity sessions, which you should still be doing, you just need to add in a little bit more recovery than you would before. You can't back up hard day after hard day. Your body just doesn't recover in the same way. So you need to make sure that you take that into account. And then between the recovery and the strength training, make sure you're getting enough protein intake, especially. That's something that it can be hard to do normally, but again, it becomes even more important as you get into that over 60 age range, just to make sure that you are aiding your recovery a little bit more and making sure you can support that muscle that you're trying to build to keep all the other systems firing and healthy on top of it.
Yep.
And I would add to that, like, on top of the protein, because I think that's a good transition to calcium and taking care of the bones,
yes.
and vitamin D and all the other things that we've heard about. And obviously the blood work's going to show any of those deficiencies. But being a New England resident and a big Tom Brady fan, the mobility and pliability play a huge factor into your longevity too. So the more flexible you can be, the longer you can last doing the things that you like to do. And that's got to be part of your recovery. And even a daily training session is how you stretch and move around and keeping your spine mobility and your hips and everything loose.
That is really good advice. Yeah, absolutely. Just want to keep doing all the things that you love to do and not have to stop because you're aging. We've definitely seen some very cool examples like Sister Madonna Booter, who's racing the Ironman World Championships in Mauna for years and years. So it's absolutely possible to keep training. You just have to be a little bit more mindful in there and focus on some of those aspects that get a little bit more challenging after 60. But let's move on here to some race recaps this weekend. We had some wicked racing going on here, especially on the WTCS side. That was
We did.
a challenging format to follow unless you saw it all laid out like that. So there was a series of super sprints where they had the initial qualifying races, and the field was broken into two on both the male and female sides. So there were two qualifying races. If you made it into the top ranks, then you would race the next day at a championship race. And if you didn't make it into the top ranks, then you had to do a rep recharge where you basically had to race again later that evening to try to get a spot into the next day's racing, which is a lot of racing over 3 days. I thought I felt bad going to my coach saying I'm going to do 3 races over 3 days. These guys, some are doing 3 races over 2 days and then a mixed relay. So Fede, do you want to tell us how did it go over the weekend's racing? Oh, and we had some predictions too.
We did.
Yeah, how did it go again?
Yeah, well, first off, I wanted to say congratulations on you picked Hayden Wild and Cassandra won. So yeah, congratulations, Jenna. And actually, I think for next week's picks or next time, if we pick the same guy, maybe the second person who chooses that guy gets just half the points because I think we all would have picked Hayden for the victory here.
Yeah.
But we had, like you said, Hamburg, WTCS at a different format, which the word on the street is that they are pushing this format to be at the LA 2028 Olympic Games. So we'll see if that goes through or not. But on the men's, we had Hayden Wild taking the victory. On second place, we had Portugal's Vasco Vilaça. And on third place, Alex Yee. And for current Olympic champion Kristian Blummenfelt came in fourth, Matt Hauser in fifth. And one thing that was very interesting is that from first place to 10th place, there was only like 28 seconds separation. So this just goes to show how close this racing is. You know, it's not that they blow up, it's just that the competition, it's insane in men and women. And over the women's side, we had, of course, Cassandra Vaughrant from France taking the win, Beth Potter from Great Britain in second, and Laura Lindemann from Germany. And yeah, Sam Rappaport finished in 10th place. She didn't have the best of races, but we know she's not the super fast twitch athlete. Taylor Spivey came in seventh, and it was just an exciting race to watch. Overall, very fast pace, a lot of corners, and everybody had to be on top of it. And after that, we had the mixed team relays as well in Hamburg. So a full weekend. And over the mixed team relays, we had the Germans taking the win, then the Kiwis coming in second, and the Swiss in third place. And I just love watching the mixed team relays. It's just so exciting to see. And there was also the age group sprint and mixed team relays world championship. So I think we have to push for next year's to qualify for the mixed team relay. It'll be interesting to have us competing in that.
Get a Mauna team together.
Yeah.
That'd be so fun.
And even their intros too, right? I mean, like they're all rock stars getting introduced as the teams and everything, and coming up with their own dances.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys haven't watched it, with the mixed team relay, some of the teams have started to have a little bit of fun. They do a bit of a walkout where all 4 athletes will walk out onto the course there and start lining up. But a bunch of the teams started coming up with little fun hand gestures or dances. One team pretended to be a bicycle, like one guy hunched down, and the other was just some entertaining ones in there. So, and you could see like there was always the one team member in there who was like, "This is just stupid. I don't know why I'm doing this." There were a few teams that would like all in, and we're just having a good time with it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, they're kids at the end of the day, so and it's good to see them have a laugh and good fun.
And it was nice to see a bit of a shakeup in the mixed team relay as well. It wasn't the usual contenders that we always see winning it with like the USA and France and Great Britain. So it was interesting to see the combinations that they chose for athletes. I know everyone's kind of testing out who they're going to use when it comes to the mixed team relay. But yeah, it was nice to see a bit of a shakeup to keep it interesting.
100%. And yeah, this format is, I think it's what the sport needs. You know, it's exciting, it's fast paced, and it's easy to understand. And people just love it. I just love watching the mixed team relays. It's just super exciting to watch.
It's a blast. Now, I heard there was a little bit of controversy in the women's race there. We had Gwen Jorgensen, I don't know if you guys saw it, was kind of speaking out about the course there. So apparently there's a tunnel that you go underneath, which one makes it, you think sighting is hard. Try going from a bright sunny day to under a tunnel for like 50 meters and then back into the sunny day. That does not make it easier. But she was saying she didn't feel that the swim was fair. And this is a very tight and compact swim course where they're very close together the entire time. But she said that people were pulling each other under or dragging on feet, like just doing kind of shady things in there. And she didn't feel it was a fair event. So that was unfortunate to hear, but I don't know how much of it is just because they're in such tight quarters in that race. Usually you have more time and space to kind of spread out. And really, I don't know how much she's experienced that, because while she wasn't the fastest swimmer ever, she wouldn't usually be so far back kind of in the pack or in the middle of the pack there. So maybe it's a different experience, more towards the middle.
And how do you officiate it? It's not like it's water polo and you can see them doing all this stuff. And even that swim start's crazy too, right? Because aren't they jumping off of the roadway area or whatever, and like it's almost like a platform dive in and quick start, and some people are getting good dive starts and some are not, and you're playing catch up from the beginning. So it was very interesting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, World Triathlon has been doing a good job in terms of making things safe during the swim, because back in the day, I don't know if you recall, like 2010, 2011, it was like a boxing match in the water. But nowadays they just film everything, and they have actually disqualified athletes for being like football term, unnecessary roughness to other swimmers. But I think this was just a case of wrong time, wrong place, and a tight tunnel. So I don't think there's it's just racing and it's part of it.
No, fair enough. Well, we had some other actually cool results this weekend. Fede, what was going on in the 70.3 side?
Yeah, we did. Also, actually wanted to touch on we had the Continental Cup in Long Beach, which that's where the Olympic Games are going to be in 2028. And I just wanted to congratulate a couple of my swim squad teammates who went to that race, and one of them came second. So congrats, David. And Anna Lindsay, she's coached by my coach, a Kiwi athlete. So good on them.
Awesome.
And Now back to the Ironman. Of course, we had Ecuador, like we touched on, and we had an Ecuadorian podium in the men's and women's. We had Armando Matute coming in first. He was actually wearing the Mauna tri-suit, so that's very good. Proved that it's a very fast tri-suit. He was the only guy going under 4 hours on that race, so kudos.
Mhm.
We had Brazilian Fernando Toldi coming in second, and another Ecuadorian Andres Barrio Nuevo coming in third. On the women's side, we had Elizabeth Bravo winning again in the Mauna tri-suit in 4:30. Ana Torres from Ecuador as well, 4:48. And Sarah Crowley from Australia coming in third in 5:04. I talked to her after the race and she had some bad stomach issues. So maybe
Oh, no.
something she ate or the water or something. She just didn't have it on that day, but she's a champion and she muscled through and finished third.
That is
That was
awesome.
her race rehearsal for Lake Placid because she's on the start list there next weekend.
Ooh, yeah, that'll
Yeah.
be interesting how she bounces back. Definitely.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that Mauna tri-suit goes pretty good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good and it goes pretty good. Yeah, absolutely.
Even soaking wet like Fede's was when he, man, I couldn't tell if you'd already been doused with the water bottle, if that was just straight sweat.
Yeah, no, that was probably both. That was probably both, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then,
doing a wet test over here on the finish line.
Absolutely, taking the win.
Full send Fede.
That'll be a competition for a different day for sure.
Oh man! So, do we have anything else going on this weekend for racing?
Yeah, we had 70.3 Swansea in the UK, and we had a Spaniard, Antonio Benito, coming in 4 hours flat. We had Dieter Thomer from Belgium coming in 4:03, and Jack Moody from New Zealand. Also, this guy is a class act. I've been able to train with him and talk to him, and just good on him. On the women's side, we had Emma Pallant Brown taking the win in 4:27. Then we had Nikki Bartlett in 4:34, and Siv Benedict Madsen from Denmark in 4:35. So slower times for Ecuador and for Swansea. So just tough conditions, because it's very rare that nowadays we see pros winning with 4 hours. So yeah, definitely a tough course and tough conditions. We also have
surfaces, like the road surface over there is just brutal and slow and rough, and I'm sure it wasn't a bright sunny calm day either. So.
Absolutely no, and also over the weekend it was also the Scottish Open over there in the UK, and it was windy and rainy, so I'm sure those guys got some of those conditions as well.
Definitely on par over there.
yeah no, and well, now in sunny Spain we had Ironman Vitoria-Gasteiz, and this was a women's only pro field. We had Spain's Gruze Frades, who she's an amazing runner. She came in 8:46. Then we had Germany's Svenja Toos in 8:53, and Netherlands Els Visser coming in 9:09, and making a comeback. Newly mom Michelle Bestervy coming from Denmark, coming in 9:17. So that's good that she's back on the podium, and after maternity, just showing us how strong she can be after giving birth for the second time.
Yeah, I love to see it. That's awesome. It was a packed weekend of racing. Next weekend isn't looking so busy, actually. It'll be a little bit of a quiet time, but we've got one race that I'm very curious to see how it goes down. Ironman Lake Placid is coming up here, which will be so fun to see. Do we want to do some predictions on who's going to take this one?
Yeah, let's do it. Do you have the start line with you?
I do. Let's take a look at some of the top names. We're going to start with the women here. We've got, and I will say the men's side is probably a little bit more stacked than the women's, but we got Jody Robertson, Rach McBride, Jen Arnett, Ayueda, Joanna Ryder, Angela Nath, Alice Alberts, Jenny Hansen, Amber Ferreira, Katie Morales, and a couple other on there. Fun to see a strong Canadian contingent,
and Sarah
actually.
Crowley was added to the list too.
Oh, Sarah Crowley was added there?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So let's start with you this time, Josh. Who do you think is taking the win here?
I think based off of Betty's report, and she was still able to race and finish in a 70.3. I'm going to stick with Sarah Crowley. She's ready. We know she just raced recently, and she did her 2-week out race. So I'm going to go with Sarah Crowley. We'll see.
Okay.
She's entering for a reason.
Absolutely.
Definitely. How about you, Fede? Who do you think has it here?
Oh, I'm gonna go with a dark horse, and I'm gonna go with Joanna Reiter. So she's a very strong biker, and that course will probably suit her. So I'm gonna go with her.
It's a lot of climbing.
Okay, gotcha. It's a tough one. I'm trying to think who would take it here. You know what? I'm gonna go Canadian.
There you go.
Let's go ahead, Delaney. We're in there. We'll see how it goes here. But let's jump into the men's side. So we got a few names here. The big news that Josh let me know before here was we had one big name and drop off. Well, they haven't dropped off the start list, but they're not on the Ironman pre-race social media pump-up post. So we're going to take that as they're not racing anymore. But who we do have racing is Cody Beals, Michael Weiss, Joe Skipper. Alistair Brownlee is unfortunately the one that has dropped off the list here. We got Matt Hansen, Matt Russell, Ben Hoffman, Josh Amberger, Andreas Drake. So a few more names on here that we'll recognize. Again, let's start with you, Josh.
This is a tough one. I really think Skipper's due. Cody Beals is tough. It's a tough start list. But I'm going to go with the old man, Mr. Ben Hoffman, and go. You want to talk about an outside pick? Well, let's see what he can do. Jen and I were talking earlier, Fed. He's done some races recently with some of the Paralympics. He was actually out in Long Beach and won the Paralympic for the second time this season. So let's see what Ben can do. I'll leave the other ones for you guys.
That's a good choice. He's always a good pick, Ben. He always runs the house down.
Awesome. What do you think, Fede?
Stack field. Oh my God, I have. I'm gonna go. I mean, I really like Cody. I think he's a super strong athlete. Also, Joe, I think he can have it, and I really like Josh Hamburger. But I'm gonna go with my gut and go Joe Skipper for the win.
Yeah, no, he's always a hard one to argue with. You know what? I'm surprised he's racing though too. Like he just wants to throw in another Ironman before the World Championships. And he can do it. He'll back it up there. Okay, I'm gonna go Canadian again. Cody Beals. I think he takes this one. He has. He's not focusing on the Ironman World Championships and doing a series of Ironman races. So be good to see how he goes here. I know we'll have some extra energy after Mont Tremblant 70.3 being canceled, unfortunately, due to air quality and the apocalyptic, all the bugs dying there. That was weird. But yeah, I think he's got the win here.
I would say keep an eye on Matt Hansen too, because it'll be interesting to see how he comes back from that lung collapse, right? I think that's what he had. It'll be interesting to see how he bounced back, because I think this is his second race since coming back. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles this.
That'll be good to see. Awesome. Well, we will see how it all goes down. So Fede, I hear you had some thoughts on the Tour de France.
Yeah, I did. And I'm super excited about it, actually. So we are in the thick of it now and coming to the end of the Tour de France. It was very close up to yesterday, actually, when we had my favorite stage, the time trial. I think every triathlete loves the time trial, but all the cyclists just hate it. And because I'm a nerd, I just love watching all the TT bikes and all the aerodynamic technology that goes into these guys. But we had the two favorites, Jonas Vingegaard from Denmark and Tadej Pogačar from Slovenia. They were 10 seconds apart at the start of the time trial, and the cycling world just went bananas after yesterday's time trial. I mean, what Jonas did is amazing. He put in just a class act on the TT. He distanced himself from Pogacar and he put like a minute 20 something over 22Ks, 22.4Ks. And I have some numbers for you guys and for the audience to just know what it takes to be the best cyclist of the world.
And by the way,
the climb,
Tade's time was pretty good itself. So it's not like he had a bad day.
Right.
He beat everyone else by a long shot too. So I mean, first and second, I mean, it was crazy. So what Jonas did is just out of world.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, like you said, Josh, today was riding very, very good. I mean, he put 1 minute over Wout van Aert, and Wout is one of the best time trialists in the world. And, after the stage, Wout said, well, today I was the first one amongst humans, just referring that Jonas and Tadej were out of this world.
Yeah,
absolutely. So what did those power numbers look like on a performance like that?
Oh, just get ready, guys. So the climb, the harder climb, the Côte de Domancy to Combu, it was a 6 kilometer climb at 6.84% average. And Jonas rode it in 13:21 minutes, averaging 27.19 kilometers per hour. Just on the climb, though. This is just on the climb. And he pushed, this is an estimate, he pushed 7.6 watts per kilo for 13 minutes. This means he had to be pushing maybe 7 for the previous 25 minutes. So he said on an interview that maybe his power meter was reading too high because he couldn't believe the numbers he was seeing on his bike computer. But yeah, he just had probably the best time trial of modern day cycling. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with VAM, vertical ascended meters. This is a measurement that it measures your vertical ascent in meters per hour. It means that it measures how quickly you are traveling upwards. And it's a very useful tool when you're comparing your effort on a segment towards another cyclist. And Jonas, his VAM was 1,836 meters per hour, and Pogacar was 1,697. This means that Jonas was climbing 139 meters faster per hour than Pogacar. He was 19.9% faster than the median in the peloton, which, this take it with a grain of salt because a lot of pros just soft pedal on these TTs. But over the GC guys, he was 5% better than all of them. On the first corner, he was already 2 seconds faster than Pogacar. So this just goes to show how aggressive he was. And he was taking each line like the best Formula One driver. It was just a masterclass and, amazing. And today, actually, on stage 17, Jumbo, they broke Pogacar for good. I mean, the gap is now 7:35 between the two of them. And I was very, very happy to see how Vingegaard pushed in the end. That for me said that he was thanking his teammates and that he wanted to put more time into Pogacar just to let them know that if they want to go for a stage win in the next couple of stages, they can do it because he has enough cushion for the victory. So I think it was just a class act and a thank you to his teammates. So yeah, and we just have one more hard stage on Saturday, but I think the tour is now decided unless something catastrophically happens to Vingegaard, which knock on wood it doesn't.
And it's crazy to say it. I mean, now can Tadej hold on to a podium? I mean, it's crazy to think that. I mean, just over 24 hours ago, we were talking about can he pull off the win 10 seconds down, and now it's like, can he even stay on the podium? And does the team refocus their attention to Yates? And let him go because Tadej was. He dropped some F-bombs today, and that got
he left all his emotions out there.
And I mean, it was amazing yesterday too, because you get a lot of TT courses where it's flat. This was not a flat TT course yesterday. Tadej switched bikes. A lot of them switched bikes from their TT bikes to the road bike. And they felt it was worth the time that it took to transition into the new bike. And Jonas just took his TT bike all the way to the top, and it was unbelievable what he did. And to still have what he had today to finish 4th place on an 18,000 vertical climb. And the numbers that they put out today that were going around in our WhatsApp group and all that, I mean, 20 miles an hour plus for 5 hours up 18,000 feet. I mean, just
it's absolutely insane. Yeah, I saw this really great video of Jonas and Tede descending in that time trial, like just some of the corners, the bike skills. It was shocking, the difference, and you can definitely see where Jonas made time up in there. Like he was just railing those corners, hitting the race line at the apex of the corner perfectly, using every millimeter of road, and he was so much more aggressive on all of it, where you can definitely see just from a standpoint of knowing the course and bike handling, he took it to the very limit, which was kind of surprising to see considering he was defending the yellow jersey, but he was not leaving a second out there. And it was really interesting to see those two riding it at the same time and just seeing the difference in ride styles and really just cornering. Like it made up a massive bit of time on top of superhuman power numbers, which definitely helps too. But even if he hadn't put out those numbers, you could see he was the man on that day, just the way he handled that course.
I think the descent today was the first time we saw him maybe ease up a little bit. Coming off the top, and even that he wasn't easing up, but for his standards, he wasn't pushing it, because at that point it was done. Tade was done. So the only way Tade has a chance, or anyone else has a chance, is if Jonas does something wrong. And so today I think was the first time I actually saw him take it easy coming down on the descent, and then he still finished his 4th up a 20% climb on a airport runway.
How tough that climb looked, guys! They were just grinding.
Brutal.
Sideways, yeah. It's very rare to see a pro cyclist doing the zigzagging up a climb, and so tough.
And podium. I mean, these were guys in the top 5, 6, 7 that were going zigzag just to get to the line.
Absolutely. Well, a few more stages to go, but I think we got the GC at the very top tied up. It'll be interesting to see where the minor placings are. As much as we like to talk about the pro racing side, we definitely want to bring you some stories about the age groupers on another triathlon podcast, because I know most of us out there do not have 40 hours a week to train, recover, and do all of that fun stuff for our triathlon goals. So we're trying to get a few perspectives from some different Mauna athletes who are on the team with us to see how they balance their training and racing and hear about some of their race experiences. So today we're here to bring you Jared Carver. We're excited to say he just did his first Ironman and is coached by one of our Mauna coaches, Philip. And we're here to hear a little bit more about his story. Jared, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm got my butt kicked after the Ironman, but I guess we'll go into all that. But I'm doing great. I'm feeling good, a little stuffy, but other than that, feeling good.
Fantastic. And then, of course, as always, we also have Josh and Fede here too. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing great. It's always nice to hear from another age group or two after getting bombarded with all you elite athlete stuff. So I got somebody a little more on my same playing field.
There we go. And of course, Fede, how's it going?
Hey guys, happy to talk with you and hear about Jared's experience and ready to dissect his race.
Excellent. Let's jump into it. So let's start off with Jared. How did you find triathlon? What got you started in it?
Oh boy. Yeah, no, it's actually a really good story. So I grew up my whole life an athlete, played every sport, but I was really focused on basketball. So I actually had offers to go play D1 basketball. Junior year for high school, went up for a dunk, and I'm 6'1", but I got hops, and people don't look at me. They're like, this guy can't jump, but I used to have hops. And so went up for a dunk, and unfortunately a guy hit my shoulder, tore my labrum. And so offers were pulled from me. It was either, get 8-month surgery and, hopefully recovers, go back in basketball. So I transitioned into business. And so I started my first clothing brand when I was a junior in high school, ended up blowing up, ended up selling it when I was a senior in high school. And then I was like, what do I do? So always been a serial entrepreneur, always starting businesses. And so then it was 2017, I was a commercial real estate agent, and I met a group, long story short, that was doing Facebook marketing, and they blew up their business within like 2 months. Like it was like they did $2.8 million EBITDA in the first month. And I'm like, what did you guys do? So I started seeing Facebook marketing, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start venturing into that. So I started this company I have now, which is Millennial Media Group. And I got a mentor, and he was like, you don't run a business and you don't own a business if you're doing all the work, right? So until you can get everybody else to do the work for you, you don't really have a real business. So I outsourced everything too well. And I got to a point where I had no identity. I was just super depressed. I was like, what? Like, I don't have anything to do now. I'm used to working 16, 18 hours every day. And I was going insane. So I called my buddies, and he was like, you got too much time in your hands. He's like, do a triathlon. He's like, the best thing to get through depression is just like go through working out and set a goal for yourself that's so crazy. And I hate running. I hated biking. I hate endurance stuff. Like I'm more like basketball, get in for 12 minutes, 4 quarters and get out. Right. And so I was like, this sounds awful. It sounds great. So I jumped into it, and I was the most new you can possibly be, right? Like I went on Amazon, I bought a $400 bike, and I was like, this is perfect, right? Like not even shifters. It was just like one of those little, button things. I'm like, this is perfect. Did a 70-mile bike ride with no nutrition, no water, just powered it, right? And so then all of a sudden I'm like, I don't feel good. I found out what bonking meant, right? I was like, oh, bonking. So then a guy on the side of the road drives by me, and he's like, is that a Tommaso? Which I don't expect you guys to know what a Tommaso is, by the way. It's literally an Amazon brand. And I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, I haven't seen that brand in years. I'm like, what brand is this? So I look it up, and it's like, nobody knows. So I'm like, I need to figure out this sport. So then that's when I end up getting a coach, and he taught me a bunch of things that I didn't know. And I was like the most brand new to the sport ever, right? Like didn't know anything about anything. And so that was kind of the long story short of how I got into this. So I just kind of fell into it, and I fell in love with the whole entire process of triathlon, because for me, it teaches you not just in things in triathlon, but in life as well. It's like you in basketball and other sports, like you can get away with like not hitting the right nutrition. You can get away with not eating the morning of. You can get away with all these little things in these other sports that in triathlon, it exposed me to what my actual body is receiving of, what my energy levels are, recovery. Because in basketball, it's like recovery, you can still, go out at night and have fun with the boys and you're back in practice next morning. Like triathlon, not happening. So that was kind of the venture. And now I am, what am I? I'm pushing about 2 years into triathlon total. Obviously did my first full a few weeks ago, but I've done 4 70.3s. It was 3 ocean sides and then 1 St. George. So I'm still a baby in this sport. And that's why I have you guys to, push me, because I mean, I'm getting dropped by grandmas. I'm getting dropped by literally everybody who's not even breathing hard. Like in Oceanside, they're flying past me on their aero bars. They're like, you doing okay, honey? I'm not doing okay at all.
Yeah, what? I love that background in there. And I think that's how a lot of people find triathlon is really, to be honest, life these days from a physical perspective is too easy. Like we're all sitting around, you can have food delivered to your door, you can get everything online, like you don't have to go anywhere or do anything. And I think as humans, we still search out those challenges because we want to see what our body is capable of. We want to challenge ourselves in that physical way. And Ironman is absolutely one way to do it. And I think people get sucked into just seeing what their bodies are capable of.
I totally agree. And it's all the small stuff, right? It's like that's what I love about it. It's all the small details that go into the sport that for me, it's like I translate that into business. And it's like, if we're not, I call it, glass half full versus half, empty. It's like if you're not filling your glass up in the first part. And with triathlon, it's like the recovery is more important than the training. Obviously, don't do the training. It's like, okay, well, you're not, getting there, but it's like, it's the most important part. And so taking that into business, it's like, well, if you go home and you're not recovering mentally and you're not doing what's the best for yourself, you're going to come to the office the next day and you're not going to perform. And so I tell it to my whole entire team too. And the cool thing about it too is I was the first one in, but then the whole entire company started doing Ironmans. So we all were out in Oceanside together, doing it all together. And I saw it change them as people too. And so I always recommend anybody that, especially when you get older and it's hard to join sports that you're like, if basketball is like what, you're going to go join a men's league and play against a bunch of has-beens with 2 people in the stands. Like it's not big, right? Like Ironman's big. Like you get there and you feel the energy. And like everybody who I brought there that watched us were like, I want to do this after. So I always recommend anybody go after it. Like try it one time, it'll change you forever. I really do believe that.
Yeah, talk about a great team building exercise for sure. Now, at what point did you decide, okay, I'm ready, I want to go tackle an Ironman? Was that a goal early on, or as you progressed, you decided, okay, maybe I could do this?
Yeah, I knew I could always do it. It was just more like, did I want to? Right.
Fair
And I
enough.
mean, it was like, I love the 70.3 and I love the competition of it. To be honest, it was actually a competitor of mine who is a friend, right? But is a competitor. He did Ironman California and he barely made the cutoff, right? And he didn't train really and all this different stuff. And he was like, Jared, you're doing halves, I'm doing fulls. I'm like, okay, buddy, like, let's see. So that was kind of the challenge, right? It wasn't like he did California and I was like, let me do something bigger. And so like, let's go across the country. Let's go to Europe. Let's do this jet lag. Let's climb 7,800 feet of climbing. Like I want it to be so hard where it was just like, I'm very competitive, right? Which is why this sport's so humbling because like, I got 55th in my age group in Switzerland. And I had the race of my life, right? So it's like, It's so humbling and there's so much future to it where it's like, I can see all that. But like I was telling Phil about this and I was like, this is a really weird thing for me. The Ironman actually, now the pre and the post, like I've been going through it. Like it's kicked my butt completely, right? But it was interesting. I called him and I was like, it was easier than a 70.3 for me. And I think it's because I like the long grind of all of it. I never was like, I can't finish. Like this is going to be so, and I was super sick before. Like I was not feeling good whatsoever. And I remember him saying like mile 18, like you're going to really feel it and want to quit. It just never came. Like I was almost like mile 24 and I was just like, I can keep going. Like it was a different feeling versus like I emptied the tank in 70.3. So I do like more of the challenge of the 70.3 and the pain that it comes with versus the full Ironman. But and I also like being done, around 1:00, 2:00 versus 8:00, 9:00, 10:00. So, but I'll do another one. I'll definitely do more Ironmans. Definitely in the States this next time. I think I'll stay away from Europe for a little bit. But yeah, I think it's just, it's all preference. I think I do like 70.3s better because I think I could be competitive in it faster than Ironman, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I'm the same way. I much prefer Ironman to 70.3. It's just prolonged discomfort, but you're not like fully maxed out at any point. It's just keep grinding through. The muscles are breaking down more so than your heart rate's getting up there kind of deal.
Yeah.
But
When you're telling yourself to slow down, right? Like in the Ironman, it's like that was the whole time. It's like, and I don't like telling myself to slow down. I like go, like get after it, right? So I think that's the big reason for me too.
fair enough. So let's talk race day. How did it go? So you traveled over all the way to Europe to go do this. How did your race day pan out?
Yeah. Not the way I visualized it. I'm a huge visualization person, right? So we took care of everything. Like, I mean, we spent money on first class flights. We slept amazing going out there. Food was on point. Hydration was on point. Get to the venue and get into this house and instantly just started feeling like sick for some reason. And we ended up finding out that our Airbnb had black mold in it. And so that obviously didn't help. And so all of us were getting sick. And I was like, this is so odd. And so the night of the race, I was feeling sick around like 6:00. And then I was like, I'm going to bed. Like, maybe it's race nerves. And my body's probably just like, hey, something's happening, right? And so I woke up in the middle of the night and I got my wife up and I'm like, this is not good. Like I was literally shaking, sweating. Like it was, and I haven't been sick in 8 years. Like I actually haven't been sick in 8 years. And I was in a bad condition. So obviously you go on Google and everything they type in on Google, they say you're dying, right? So I'm like, take it with a grain of salt. But it was like anything below your neck, like you shouldn't even work out, let alone do an Ironman. And so I'm like, I didn't come this far to come this far. So I purposely didn't text Philip because I know he probably would have talked me out of it or just said something that was probably smart. And I'm like, I don't need smart right now. I need to do this Ironman, right? And so probably wasn't the best decision, but I'm hindsight glad I almost did it. So I get there race morning and I am just shaking. Like it was brutal. Like it was, my head was pounding. It was like I was in a daze. Like I wasn't even there. But it was interesting because I had no nerves because for me, I was like, am I even going to race? And so I wasn't even thinking about the race. I was just like, let's just get in the water. And so I get in the water in the first 400 meters and it was stormy the night before. And so it was a lot of chop. I think like the pro last year went around like 51 minutes and this one he went 57. So that just shows like it was a way harder day. And so I get in the water and instantly like my legs just seize up because I had like my hydration is probably just draining from all the sweat and everything else. And then guy behind me takes his nail and just claws the back of my foot and I start bleeding. And I'm like, this is actually amazing because now my mind can think about pain versus like my sickness and can I get through all this? So race morning was, a lot more difficult. But right when I got on the bike, it was like, okay, we're here. Like, we're fine. Like, and then everything started clicking. The adrenaline started coming through. And the rest of the whole entire day really wasn't too difficult for me until I got done and got back to the Airbnb. And then all hell broke loose.
Yeah, that post Ironman feeling it's so funny how 1 second you can be running and you're like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm going to finish. You cross the finish line. You feel amazing. And then 2 steps later, you're just like, my body's not going to do anything ever again.
Actually, yeah, it was brutal. I mean, but it was a really cool experience. I had a lot of mixed feelings on it because I had this visualization, like 2 weeks before the whole race, I was running in Arizona, and Arizona is no joke. Like, everybody's saying it was hot out there, but right now it's 116, right? And it's like, it's no joke. And so for me, I definitely was heat trained. So it was easy for me to be out there with their heat, right? And so a lot of it was like, I remember finishing a workout and visualizing finishing, through the chute, and then just like raising my arms. And I got emotional, and I was like, wow, like this is going to be amazing. Right. And I guess it was almost just like survival out there. Right. And like I didn't feel like it because, I mean, gave me everything, and I hit everything to a T. And it was so funny because like I was seeing people not just like, they weren't putting down any nutrition. Like I was behind this one guy who was running like a 9:30 pace for probably about like 4 miles. And I'm taking in nutrition. This guy took in nothing. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, he just goes over on the side and just like hands on the knees. And so like a lot of it was just like I told Philip this, I'm like, look, like I recognize when I'm the student and you're the master, and I just shut up and listen to you. And I did. And that's the reason why I think I felt so good in the whole entire race. And like, if I had my old coach, I don't think I would have. The details that were in the race, like the pre-race strategy was an hour call with him and asking every question possible and going through like even how many grams of carbs to hit for the carb loading before, what to eat, what to stay away from all that. Like that helps so much that for me, it's like, I had this confidence, and maybe that's what it was. Like by mile 18, like, yes, I'm feeling it, but it's like, I was just like so empowered because I'm seeing all these other people just dropping off. And I'm like, I don't feel this way. I feel great. Right. So it was such a great day. Obviously mixed feelings because I finished and I'm like, I didn't have these emotions I thought I was going to have with visualization. It was just like, it's done. Right. And I think I put in my race recap video where, the guy gives me the medal and he's like, says something in German. It's like, show. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, American, congratulations. I'm like, dude, where am I? Like, I guess I'm in Switzerland, right? Yeah. So it was definitely, I told Philip that too. I was like, I think the next one I'll be more emotional if like my team's there and like other people are there, right? Because I'm the only one that was with Mauna that was there. And there's one time in the bike where I had finally a guy behind me and he was like, let's go USA, because he saw the little tag on it. And I was like, it was so refreshing. I was like, let's go, baby. Like, let's do this thing, right? But that was one guy, right? The whole entire deal. So yeah, I think doing one in the States will be fun with the whole entire team there and, other people that are on Mauna and, seeing you, Jenna, like you'll be able to finish and take a shower and, maybe talk to your friends and do another podcast, and you can come back and see me finish.
You know what? There really is something about racing with teammates out there. Like when you see familiar faces out there, you see the kids on course, it gives you such a boost every time. And as I always say, it's more fun to suffer with friends. It just makes it a little bit easier.
1,000%. And languages you can understand. They come up saying, up, 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 up. And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but I think it means go faster. But I'm not going faster because Philip said, slow down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I did my first 2 Ironmans in Europe, in Sweden, and then Ireland, but they all speak English there.
Yeah, right.
It's definitely a whole different experience when you have to deal with all those logistics. But it sounds like you were really prepared. And some of that, not having that emotion at the finish line, is probably almost a case of that visualization. Like it was never a question in your mind if you were going to finish. It was just when, right? So that takes a lot out of it, where you're just like, okay, I know this is going to be the result. This is the result I expect. This is what I hit. Is a much different feeling than, oh my God, I hope I make this. We'll see what happens.
It never was a thought in my head. And it was actually my friend helped me with that too, because we were in the car and I'm quiet. Like I didn't say one word race morning because I was feeling so bad. And I was trying to like really get in this headspace, like, we're going to war. Like we're going to war with your body. And like this could be really, really difficult. And that's what I wanted. I prayed to God and I'm like, God, give me the hardest day possible. And God's like, you got it, buddy. Like, let's go for this thing. And it was funny because I'm in the car and of course my buddy, knows me well enough where he's like, let's spark Jared a little bit. So he was like, well, come on, man. Like if Michael Jordan can do the flu game, you can do this. I'm like, okay, well, Michael Jordan had to go 12 minutes for 4 quarters. I'm going for possibly 14 hours. But then he said that and I was like, And you'll see in my race video, I'm running and I'm at mile like 16. He's like, "You're not MJ yet." So for me, it was just like, it was so much bigger than just like getting the medal. And it's so cool to have the team around me too, because like all of you guys are tracking me. And you know, you guys know this and you guys can relate to this. You have other people who haven't done this sport and they really just don't understand what you're enduring, right? Yes. And when you have people that are actually in the sport at the highest level and they're looking at you, it's like it's like the whole concept is like you go play basketball with a bunch of kindergartners, you can dominate them, but you don't get better, right? But if you're around people that are dominating you and you're turning the ball over nonstop, it's like you're going to get better. And so I had those thoughts about, you know, Nick helped me so much with, you know, just packing the bike up, and we're DMing all the time. Jenna, you've helped me and my wife so much, just motivational purposes. And like my wife gets so much inspiration from you because not many women in the sport either. And so it's like, I see all that and I see all the team around me and I'm like, it's bigger than just me. And that's the reason why I think I joined this team, is because I needed that. Like I need that push. And for me, I'm not even thinking about being the best. Like it's more just being better every single day. And let's see how far this journey can go. I'm naturally athletic. I think I have the body for this sport, but it's also, do I have the discipline that other people have? And I see the team around me. I'm like, people are more disciplined in the sport than I am. And it motivates me to be better versus you're around people that you just did an Ironman. They don't even know the time. They don't even know the distance. They're like, "You did an Ironman. That's crazy. I can't believe you swam and you biked." So I was like, well, there's also a marathon. Like, what? So.
No, absolutely. Josh and Fede, do you guys have any questions for Jared here on his experience at Ironman?
Well, I mean, coming like age grouper to age grouper, I think what you went through to get to the start line, I can appreciate that, and having it kind of put aside some of that anxiety you might naturally get on race day morning. But then you get in the water and you get scratched and clawed and all that goes on. Do you consider yourself a good swimmer? So that is that swim part naturally something you don't have that anxiety around anyways? Because I know for me, if I could swim better for 2.4 miles or 1.2 miles even, my race days would be so much better. But that anxiety, and I know I can get through it, but it's still like I can't get through it at 35 minutes. I can get through it in this, right? So if you already had that swim part, did that help you?
I grew up surfing my whole life. And I did big wave surfing in Fiji. I've surfed Chopu, I've surfed Cloud Break. And so I've been through some rough conditions where open water for me, no fear whatsoever. Now, technically, am I the best swimmer? No, like we're working on it. But naturally, yes, like there was no fear in that at all. Like my wife, for example, never swam in her life. And it's, you know, her first Ironman, I bought her the nice Magic 5 goggles and she didn't even use them. She put them on her forehead and she just breaststroke because she was so terrified. And she's like, I don't remember anything. I blacked out the whole entire time. That's how scared she was, right? So, and you see those stories like, you know, for people that don't swim and getting open water is scary. But I have no problem putting my head straight down the water and just, you know, so for me, it was, swimming is probably the best background that I have. Biking, I just learned it, but, you know, got good balance. And so that stuff is easy to really, you know, go into. But yeah, I would say swimming is probably my strongest suit just because of surfing itself.
Yeah, that makes a big difference for sure. I'm sure we had a few moments crossing each other at Oceanside too, because that was my first 70.3 in April this year. Oh yeah. And I was part of the athletic brewing team. So that whole team aspect, like seeing my teammates on the run course, especially, I think Oceanside for somebody's first 70.3 is such a great venue, especially if you're part of a team. Seeing everyone go back and forth, right? Such a cool experience.
No, I loved Oceanside. Oceanside is very like nostalgic for me because that was where my, you know, my parents, we grew up with very little money. And so our only vacation we would do every other year was we went down to Oceanside for like 3 days. And so it's like that whole course is like where I grew up vacationing. It's like we were at North Coast Village. That's where we're staying. And so it's one of my favorite races by far because it's just such a great race. And it's just the environment. That was the difference between Switzerland even. It was like, your environment you had at St. George and Oceanside was just so great. Like the energy was so high. Switzerland was really low, you know, and it probably what happened in Hamburg with the whole entire thing. And people weren't allowed to get on the bike course actually for Switzerland. So it was very empty. But yeah, no, if I recommend a 70.3, I definitely recommend Oceanside or St. George. Like it's one of my two favorite races, obviously.
And I mean, they have great pro fields. So I think that's a big piece of it too, right? I mean,
yes,
both of those venues, when you have that pro field, it makes it so much better for us age groupers. But just the whole aspect And it's interesting, like even the fans wise, it gets more and more intense as the day goes along into like the 5 hour, 6 hour, 7 hour finishers. There's more fans. They're not there.
There is. 1,000%. I look back on Switzerland at the nighttime, and it was like they had sparklers, they had all this crazy stuff, and I was like, that would have been such a better picture. Like maybe I should have just chilled out at a coffee shop for a little bit. Got that picture.
Yeah, that countdown to midnight is pretty special out on course when you have those last finishers coming in.
Yeah.
Now, you're a business owner in there. You've got lots going on. How did you find balancing just the training with running a business and having a family and all of that?
Yeah. So, again, I had to save myself from actually working too hard. So it's like Warren Buffett's favorite saying is, it's not how hard you row, it's the boat that you're in. And so that really kind of, made me realize, and we have these big audacious goals as a company. Like we do well over 7 figures as an agency, but our goal is to get to 100 million. And so with that, it's like, I can't do that myself. And so that means I need to get really good at leadership and actually hiring the right people to the work for me. And if I'm doing anything in the business. And so with triathlon, it's nice because people ask me all the time, how do you have time to do, 4-hour training sessions or all these different things? And it's like, I can't afford not to do it, because it's almost like the person that, goes through their life and wants to hire somebody will just break your ankle or get sick for 2 weeks. Then you're forced to do it because you physically can't do anything in your business. And so it's either your business dies or you're kind of like, right? Like you're in that position where you have to do it. And I think when people are just like, oh, I'll keep doing this task. I'll keep doing this task. Right. And so it forced me to have better balance in my life. And so I go by the rule of, if I'm working more than 4 hours every single day, I'm doing something wrong. And I look at that task every single day and break it down and say, how do I actually need to hire? And it's accelerated our business in a crazy, crazy way. Like, I mean, we're doing, more profit, more deals, more jobs because I've given off what I usually do. And so we kind of laugh, and it's like, if Jared is doing anything in the company, it's not at the highest degree anymore, because the people I've hired are way better than me at everything I do besides leadership and actually hiring. So my job is literally just to make sure that I'm slow to hire and quick to fire. And it's the hard conversations, right? But it makes it a lot easier when you're going through stress, and also you jump on the bike for 4 hours, and after the bike ride, you're like, I'm good. Like I'm fine. So triathlon is actually the perfect marriage for me with business and everything else. And it's not just this business I run. We do real estate investing. And so we own a bunch of houses out here in Arizona. And so that obviously, people are calling me about their toilets and everything else. And so I had to learn how to outsource that to a manager. And then we launch a bunch of just like different side businesses. So we love business. And so I think that's what people look at me as, like, entrepreneur. Do you work a lot? And it's like, I don't work that much anymore. It's like my life is really structured. And, Meg and I are looking at starting a family here pretty soon. And so we've already, put together everything where it's like, okay, what is that going to look like? What are we sacrificing with that? Do we need to travel more? And so we're very intentional with our life. And that's the cool thing, is when you have a partner, like Megan runs the business with me and she's doing triathlon with me. So there's nothing that we don't do that's separate, right? A lot of times it's like the wife is just supporting the husband or vice versa with the actual sport. But I mean, she's on the bike right now doing her workout, and then she has a call at 2:30. And it's like we do the same thing every day. And so it makes it actually very, very easy, because our life is structured around the things that we want to do, which is triathlon, running a business. And we have a very small circle of people that we keep in, and they know how busy we are. They're also business owners. They know how busy they are. And so it's like, we don't really need the extra stuff in life. Like, our balance is really, really well right now, and we're really happy.
That is fantastic. Yeah, it definitely helps to have a partner who kind of understands and is in it with you. Fede, did you have any questions or thoughts for Jared here?
Yeah, so first off, I want to say congrats on your finish. Ironman is a beast, and like you said, it's comparing apples to pears when it comes to team sports and endurance sports. I myself, like you, grew up playing team sports, and running was usually a punishment. So I grew up with this idea that running was a bad thing. So it's really cool that you sort of like transcended that. And one question actually, due to your basketball background, I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite Jordan shoe? Because I'm a bit of a sneakerhead, and I wanted to know if you have any favorite. And another one is if you can compare the pain of a basketball game and then the pain you feel like doing during a triathlon, let's say mile 10 on a 70.3 or mile 20 on the run, because it's the same pain but different. Like you feel pain, but it's not super intense. I have yet to find the right description for pain in endurance sports, because it's just consistent grinding, whereas in a game you're just punching people and running on endorphins. So if you can just describe the a bit of a difference in the two of them.
Yeah. So first thing, the Jordan shoe, I have to go with the fours. I like the fours a lot. I'm not a huge sneakerhead though. It was I never bought a basketball shoe in my life because every team I was a part of, we were just sponsored by Nike. And so they would just give us shoes. And sometimes I loved them, sometimes I hate them. I'm more of I knew Kobe pretty well before obviously the whole accident and everything. And so I was a huge, Kobe low tops were always my favorite shoe to go to for, basketball. Great question regarding, comparison of, the basketball and triathlon. It's so different, right? And like, this, I like what you said, like about like the whole entire way. It's like in basketball, you're going through a lot of adrenaline too. And so if anybody knows anything about basketball, there's this YouTube channel called Ball is Life, and they're the biggest YouTube channel, right? So when I was in high school, I went to Orange Lutheran High School. We were the first documentary they ever did. So my junior and senior year, actually just got inducted into the Hall of Fame at Orange Lutheran for basketball. This actually last few weeks ago. And we were being documented the whole entire time. So I was a captain junior and senior year. And so every practice we're mic'd up, camera crews on us the whole entire time. I was the only white person on my team, and I think we understand that. And there's, Black people dominate the sport, rightfully so. There's way more athletic than a lot of the white people, unless you are a shooter, which I was a shooter, and I also had hops. But my last game of basketball, which this was the only difference, was, and I'm giving you kind of the stage before I actually answer the question. I was the only white person on the team, and we played Long Beach Jordan, which was only Black people on their team too. And so I had actually cops have to escort me into the gym because we had death threats on me, because they knew like, okay, this kid could drop 20, 30. So my dad's living in the bathroom and he's hearing somebody, they say, if number 0 drops 20, we're going to shoot the kid. Like that was a real thing. And so my dad comes to me and he's like, don't score 20. I'm like, don't win. Like, what are we talking about here? Right. And so it really took the fun out of it for me, because it was more of a threatening thing for me. And so I wasn't always playing the sport of basketball like other people play the sport of basketball. It was when I made a shot, it wasn't like a look at me and hype the crowd out. It was more of like this is kind of, intimidating. And so I think that was a psychology piece I have to go through. But it's not even comparable in terms of the endurance of it. Like it's like, it's funny. It's like a reference like snowboarding for the first time. People get done with snowboarding. They're like, why are my shoulders so sore? And it's because you're trying to balance like this, but you're so worried about not falling that you realize you're holding your hands up for like 4 hours, right? Basketball's the same exact way. Like you're going through these hard sprints and you're doing all this, but there's so much adrenaline. Like all of our games were packed, right? Like people were outside trying to see what was going on inside. And so there was always the adrenaline, but then it's like you're tired, your coach sees it, he takes you out. And endurance sports, it's like no coach is taking you out. You're going through this yourself. And if you mess up on your nutrition or your hydration or anything, like you're going downhill really fast. And so I think it's almost like in basketball, when you get there, you can get a break and you come back on, and you can help yourself. In triathlon, when you get there, you might not be able to come back. And so it's almost like you have to make sure you learn your lessons when you actually go through the bonking or I didn't hit my nutrition. And having a coach who calls it out, like, I mean, Philip called me out one day and he was like, you didn't hit your nutrition. I'm like, how do you know? He's like, your heart rate just spiked. I'm like, got it. I didn't even know that was a thing. Right. And so it's very, very different. Unfortunately, a lot of people, I told my my old coach this before. I was like, if you actually were to do sports for me again when I was younger, I would start with triathlon, because it taught me about my body and, why proteins are worth, like why carbs are worth, all those different things. Right. And when you learn that, then you can take that into other sports and you can utilize that. I would have been such a better athlete if I started with triathlon, because I would have learned like, we're not just running for punishment, right? Like he was saying, it's like, that was all I knew. It's like, okay, run suicides. It's like, man, punishment, right? Versus like triathlon, it's like, no, it's punishment every single day, but you get to learn something about yourself. So it's very different. But again, I would start with, those for the triathlon first, learn your body and learn yourself. Team sports are obviously healthy for their own certain area, but it would have helped me be a way better athlete. But unfortunately, I didn't flip.
No, fair enough. You know what? That's one thing, especially in Ironman, it is you versus you. And you learn pretty quickly what you're made of mentally and physically. But it definitely challenges you to figure yourself out in a lot of ways, which is kind of a cool aspect of the sport.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's other sports too that we love, right? Like I golf all the time. It's like we golf probably 4 times a week, and golf is such a mental game, right? You're only as good as your last shot. It's like I stuck a ball literally 2 feet from the cup the other day and 3-putted. Like that was really hard to swallow, you know? And so it's like, you know, all these different sports, right? It's like we all have those stories, but yeah, it's every different sport like teaches you something, you know? And so it's like, I mean, even like surfing, it's like, you know, I'm out there and I don't know if you guys see the scar right here, but that's a board going straight through my cheek when I was actually in cloud break. And it's like, that was the most shocking thing for me because it was like, you know, literally the board carbon fiber got cut in my eye and that could have made me blind. And of all the sports, I'm like, really? If like surfing could have done this to me, like when I've played all these other sports. And so it's, I think every sport has its own takeaway. But to be honest, like, I'm not just saying this because it's a triathlon podcast. Triathlon has taught me the most by far out of every sport. It's not even close. And I'm still a baby. Like, I don't want to come on here and be like, I got all figured out. I'm saying it because I have the 4 stages of life. Like when you first begin, you're unconsciously incompetent, which means you don't know what you don't know. That's this guy buying a $400 bike on Amazon, right? Then you go into consciously incompetent, which means now you know what you don't know. And so I'm at that phase right now where that's why I go to the people that are competent, right? Consciously competent, which they know all these different things. They're able to teach me. And the other sports, it's like, yeah, you can learn a lot, but this one, it's like you learn a lot and then you're like, well, I don't know if I trust that, you know, opinion. And then you go find out real quick and you're like, okay, probably should have got more carbs in me, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jared. We sure appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey in triathlon and how you kind of balance it all with life. Because I know a lot of people who listen to this are trying to find kind of that balance between training and work and family and all of that fun stuff. But congratulations on your race and your epic day at Ironman.
Thank you.
Look forward to catching up at the next team camp or next team race.
I appreciate you guys. And Josh, we'll see you out there at the age group, right? Hopefully we'll pass each other and you won't pass me. Hopefully you won't drop me too quick.
Well, we'll have to connect too offline. I just joined the team officially and psyched to be part of this. And you and I, our journey is buying like the $400 bikes and all the way through. And I didn't do this until I was in my mid 40s too. So you've got me beat, but absolutely the same way. I'm now training for a marathon and that's because I found myself in triathlon and now understand how to get to a race and actually run instead of just finishing a marathon type thing. So
amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
I think that's all we have today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode here. And as always, I got to say, go give us a follow on Instagram at Another Triathlon Podcast. Send us your questions there. If you find any fun social media posts, send them our way. And we will keep having some fun, geeking out on triathlon and a little bit of Tour de France because it'll be the final stages. But we will all back next week. We've got some exciting guests coming up and we can't wait to share some of those interviews. Have a great night, guys. Thank you so much for joining me once again, and we will talk to you next week.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.